If anyone has a farm or a business and they need free labor for housing, and you are a safe person, you're credible, maybe you have children of your own, and you have a clean, safe environment, I will work for you for free in exchange for housing. For 3 months, I've been trying to run a GoFundMe on my page for an RV so I can be on my own and go back to school, but it's not working out. Please message me if you're serious. If anyone has a farm.
Okay, Shalom. Okay, first and foremost, I would like to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash, and double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth, as well as much respect and honors to the brothers that are pushing this truth in sincerity across the four winds of this earth and risking their lives and freedom to do so. I would also like to give much honors and respect to the brothers and sisters that are of the hopeful elect that are doing their very best to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High to the best of their abilities. Shalom. I saw this TikTok video right here, and I just thought that I would bring out a quick lesson. I will say this right here. This is a very vulnerable and dangerous predicament to be in, especially as a woman, because here it is. You have this woman right here, this Eve, and she's basically begging for a place to stay. You know, she's saying that she's willing to work for free as long as she can be provided a safe place to live. And so, you know, it's evident that this Eve right here, you know, she's out of work and that she's also homeless. Okay. And again, this is a very vulnerable and dangerous predicament to be in, especially as a woman. Okay. Because here it is. We're in some evil times and more evils are growing. Okay. More evils are coming. More calamities are coming to Babylon the Great. This place is just waxing worse and worse every day. Okay. Here it is. I mean, you know, you're having the unemployment rate is on the rise. Here it is every day. You're hearing about businesses that are shutting down. Okay. Businesses that are laying people off. Okay. At an alarming rate. Here it is. Even the federal government, which at one time was considered to be a form of secure employment, is laying off a bunch of people. Okay. And so a lot of people are becoming out of work. Also, too, you have inflation. It's on the rise. Okay. And it's steadily on the rise. Okay. The price of rent is going up. Okay, mortgage payments are going up because here it is. I mean, you know, people who have mortgage payments, you know, taxes are being increased. Okay, and insurance is increasing, and so therefore that's also contributing to increasing people's mortgage rates. Okay, you know, this place is waxing worse and worse, and then also those who are working. Okay, they're not getting any type of raises or any type of cost of living increases to basically deal with the inflation that's happening. Okay, the price of groceries, okay, is just steadily on the rise. You know, all of this is going to lead to an uptick of crime and violence. And so, again, you know, for a woman to be in a situation like this Eve right here, especially in these times, is a very dangerous predicament to be in. Okay, but with that being said, you're going to find more women in this predicament like this Eve right here. You're going to find more of our women. Okay, they're going to end up, you know, in a predicament like this Eve right here. And reason being is because here it is, a lot of our women over here in Babylon the Great have taken on the enchantments. They have taken on the philosophies that's pushed out over here in Babylon the Great. And those enchantments and philosophies go against the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. And some of those enchantments and philosophies that's pushed out over here in Babylon the Great that many of our women have taken on. And when I say our women, I'm talking about the women of the nation of Israel, who are you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and those that are of the speckled bird that look like these other nations, but you go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob on your father's side. Many of these enchantments that our women have taken on over here in Babylon the Great are this Miss Independent. Okay, this Miss I don't need a man. Okay, this Miss I'm better than the man. Okay, this Miss I want to rule over the man. Okay, a lot of our women have taken on these enchantments. Okay, also too, here it is. A lot of our women have taken on this Miss Hot Girl Summer. Okay, enchantment. This stock culture that's pushed out over here to where they're basically hopping around from rod to rod and whatnot. A lot of our women, I'm not saying all, but the majority of them over here in Babylon the Great have taken on, you know, these enchantments and whatnot. Okay. And so a lot of our women, they're going to come to realization that taking on these enchantments and philosophies that's pushed out over here in Babylon the Great is going to fail them. It's not going to benefit them in the end. Okay. And so you're going to have a lot more of our women, end up in a predicament like this Eve right here, And so, this is why we stress repentance, Israel. Okay. This is why you got to seek the Lord, because those of our people who are not seeking the Lord, those of our people who are not repenting, they're going to be in a bad case out here, and that's women included. That's women included. Okay. And so, you're going to have a lot of women. Okay. A lot of our women, they're going to be in a bad case out here, And so, and again, this is a very vulnerable and dangerous situation to be in, predicament to be in, especially as a woman, because here it is. You're going to have a lot of predators out here. Okay. And they're going to be looking at these women as easy targets. Okay. And so, what I'm going to go ahead on and do is I'm going to go ahead and bring out a couple of scriptures. I don't plan to keep this lesson long. Okay, the first scripture I want to go to is in the book of Isaiah. This is chapter 32, and I want to start in verse 9. And it reads, "Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech." Okay, and see, here it is. Many of our women, they're living it up at ease, and they're living carelessly over here. Here it is. Many of our women, they're living it up off these different benefits that Esau gives them, such as WIC, free housing, welfare, food stamps, child support. Here it is. Esau, he'll even give, Eve a nice paying job. He'll even put Eve in a supervised position, and Esau, he'll give all these different things, to basically try to keep our women at odds against the men. And in many cases, it's worked because here it is. You have a lot of our women that are at odds against the Israelite man. Okay. And then, also, too, you're having a lot of our women, they're into all of these different enchantments that's pushed out over here in Babylon the Great, as I had mentioned earlier, such as this Miss Independent, this Miss I don't need a man. Here it is. You're having a lot of our women. They say that they're better than the man. Here it is. You're having Eve in many cases. She wants to rule over the Israelite man in the home. Okay, and then here it is. In many cases, when Eve can't get her way with the Israelite man, she's quick to want to call Esau on the Israelite man. Okay, and have Esau through his police force kick the Israelite man out of the home. Okay, this happens, quite often. And again, many of our women have taken on these philosophies and enchantments that's pushed out over here in Babylon the Great. Okay, and so many of our women are living at ease and they're living carelessly. Here it is. You're having a lot of our women, they're gathering abroad. They're out all times of the night. Okay, you're having a lot of our women, they're taking to social media, all half dressed, getting these BBLs and whatnot and twerking and whatnot. Many of our women, they're living at ease and they're living carelessly. It says, "Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech." Okay, giving ear, unto the Lord's speech is listening to his prophets, because the prophets are the Lord's mouthpiece. Verse 10. It says, "Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the venture shall fail, the gathering shall not come." Okay, and see, here it is. Many of these government benefits, that our women are receiving are about to be done away with. Because here it is, you're having DJ Donald Duck. He's talking about doing away, with these different, goodies such as free housing and food stamps and stuff like that. And you have a lot of Eves that are receiving free housing and food stamps and stuff like that. Okay. Also, too, here it is, a lot of these jobs. Okay, we're seeing all of these massive layoffs happening. A lot of these businesses that are shutting down. Okay, here it is. You have the federal government. It's doing massive layoffs. A lot of Eves are being affected by these massive layoffs. Okay, and see, it's the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua that's bringing down Babylon the Great. And the Lord is plaguing this place because of all the wickedness that goes on over here. Okay, the Lord is plaguing the job market. Because, again, the grinding is ceasing over here. We're seeing massive layoffs that are happening. And, again, a lot of these women are being affected. Okay. The economy. Okay. It's the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is plaguing the economy, because here it is. The dollar bill is losing its value. Okay. And you're having inflation. Okay. That's happening. Okay. And many of these women are being affected. You're having a lot of women. They're taking to social media and they're talking about that they're unable to pay their rent, their car note. Okay. You're having a lot of women, they're taking to social media and they're saying that they're struggling to try to make the ends meet. Here it is. I saw a video not so long ago to where you had a Eve. She couldn't pay her rent, and so how she was paying her rent was she was basically sexing up Esau, okay, in exchange for rent, okay, you know. But the vengeance is beginning to fail over here, okay. And here it is. A lot of our women, okay, who have been taking on these different enchantments, such as this Miss Independent and this, I don't need a man. They're about to be in a bad case. They're about to be troubled. Okay, and see also too, eventually 911 is going to be done away with. Okay, inflation is just going to continue to be on the rise. More food shortages are coming to Babylon the Great. More layoffs are coming to Babylon the Great, and this is just going to continue to. This is going to contribute. This is just going to continue to contribute to an uptick of crime and violence. Okay, and again, many of these women are going to be affected. Okay, many of these Miss Independents who said that they don't need a man, they're going to wish that they had a man in these days that we're approaching, and not just any man. Okay, they're going to want a man of the Lord. Okay, but it's going to be too late for a lot of them, especially those who are not going to get in order, because a man of the Lord is not going to deal with the woman who's not going to get in order. And see, you're going to see, you're going to have, you're going to see a lot more, women in vulnerable and desperate situations like this Eve, that was in the video that I shared in the beginning of this lesson. And, you're going to also hear about, about more women becoming victims of crime and violence. Because again, the woman is the weaker vessel. And you're going to have these predators, they're going to be preying on these women because they're looking at these women as easy targets. And see also too, when the economy, does collapse and all hell breaks loose, a lot of these women are going to be used as a barter system, as a means of trading goods and services. And you already know what I mean with that. Okay. Isaiah chapter 32, and this is verse 11. It says, "Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins." Okay, and see, our women, they're supposed to be humble, and they're supposed to be in a spirit of mourning. But many of our women, they're in a spirit of mirth. Here it is. As I was saying, you're having a lot of our women, they are here gathering abroad all times of the hours. Okay, here it is. You're having a lot of our women, they're taking to social media all half dressed, getting these BBLs and twerking and whatnot. Okay, you're having a lot of our women, they're calling themselves Miss Independent, and they're saying that they don't need a man. Okay, here it is. You're having a lot of our women, they're thinking that America is just going to continue on. And here it is. A lot of our women, they just want to continue to live in a spirit of mirth. Being out at all times of the night, gathering abroad, being all on social media, twerking and, and whatnot. These type of women, they're going to be in for a rude awakening very soon. And see, here it is. Many of them are going to try to run to a man of the Lord, and they're going to get rejected. Okay, they're going to be destroyed over here. Only the elect man, lady, and child are going to have that hedge of protection over them and will be delivered before that ultimate destruction comes to Babylon the Great, which is going to come by way of thermonuclear missiles. Isaiah chapter 32, and this is verse 12. It says, "They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine." Okay, and see, this is starting to happen right now. Okay, we're seeing, massive layoffs, and inflation that's happening. And here it is. You're having many of these women, okay, these Miss Independent women, they're finding themselves in bad situations to where, they can't afford to pay their rent. They can't afford to buy groceries. They're basically struggling to try to make the ends meet. Okay. And also, when all hell breaks loose and the economy collapses, many of our women are going to be looking for some type of care package from Esau. When Esau, he may throw them a few crumbs, but in return, Esau, he's going to want them to get that M to the T to the B. And that right there is going to lead to their destruction. Okay, this is Isaiah, and this is chapter 4, and this is verse 1. And it reads, "In that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach." Okay, and see, 7 just represents a number of completion. It could be more than 7 or it could be less. And that man is not going to be just any man. That man that these women are going to take hold of is going to be a man of the Lord. Okay. the men of the Lord are going to have that hedge of protection around them. And these women, they're going to want that protection. So that's why 7 women are going to take hold of that one man. And again, that one man is going to be a man of the Lord. Okay. The men of the Lord are going to be the last man standing. But again, with that being said, some women, as I was saying, they're going to be rejected by the men of the Lord. Especially if they're out of order, or if they can't cook, sew or clean or bring anything to the table, And see, men of our women, they're going to get caught up into these calamities and evils that's coming to this place. And again, men of our women, they're going to be destroyed over here in Babylon the Great. Only the elect, as I was saying, only the elect man, lady and child, will have that hedge of protection over them and will be delivered before, that ultimate destruction comes to Babylon the Great. Okay. This is Isaiah chapter 32, and this is verse 2. And it reads, "And a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land." Okay, and see, this scripture is talking about, Jacob's trouble when all hell breaks loose. Okay. Only a man of the Lord is going to, be a covering place, from all of the, the evils and the calamities, the race riots, the famine, all the hell that's going to be breaking loose. Okay. And see, again, these women, they're going to either have to, get in order and be under a man of the Lord, or else, they're going to get destroyed out here. Because again, only a man of the Lord is going to be a covering, from the wind, the tempest, the famines, the race riots, all the chaos, that's going to come with Jacob's trouble. And, this Eve, that was in the video that I shared in the beginning of this lesson, she had mentioned, that she was willing to work for free, in exchange, for a safe place to live. And, when all hell breaks loose, only a man of the Lord is going to be able to provide that safe haven. Okay. Because, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to have that hedge of protection, over that man, over that elect man. And again, you're going to have a lot of these women, they're going to try to run to a man of the Lord because, they're going to see, that the Lord is with that elect man. But many of these women, again, they're going to be rejected, especially, if they're useless and if they don't want to get in order, and if they can't bring anything to the table. Okay, this is going to be my last scripture, then we end the lesson. This is Isaiah chapter 13, verse 12. It says, "I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir." And see, here it is. You're going to have a lot of men. They're going to perish in wars. They're going to perish in race riots. You're going to have a lot of men. They're going to perish of famine. But the men of the Lord are going to have that hedge of protection around them. The men of the Lord are going to be the last man standing. Okay. And so the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to make a man of the Lord more precious than fine gold. And again, many of these women who say that they don't need a man, many of these women who say that they're misindependent and that, they're better than the man, in that day, they're going to be wanting a man of the Lord. Okay. But again, it's going to be too late for a lot of them, especially if they're not going to get in order. Okay. And so, that's pretty much the point. I'm going to go ahead and end off here. I hope it was edifying. Once again, I want to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, and double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Kwam Yasharal and Abal Babal. Shalom.